What's up, guys? Classy Metal here. Before I get into the actual video, I just want to apologize. I know there's going to be a lot of traffic going by during this video. There's been a lot of traffic um, passing by while I'm doing my prep and getting ready for it. So just wanted to apologize in advance. Unfortunately, in this rural area that I live, it's some kind of status symbol. Apparently, who has the loudest vehicle? You make them obnoxiously loud, your truck obnoxiously loud, and for some reason they all want to drive past my window today. But that being said, if there is some background noise that becomes a little distracting, I do apologize. But it is Bandcamp Friday, and I wanted to kind of revisit the Four-saken Friday series today and show you guys four releases that I picked up through Bandcamp that I think you guys would enjoy. It was hard for me to narrow this video down to pick the four releases that I wanted to show. I've picked up a ton of stuff over the past few months, and it was nearly impossible to narrow these down. There was no real rhyme or reason to it. It was just looking at the stack of stuff that I have set aside that I want to show on this channel. It was just the four that just spoke to me as I was getting ready to make this video. So that being said, I'm just going to get right into it. I will link up all of this stuff down in the description. I have my new Instagram in that as well. I just posted um, a free digital download for one of these albums as a give. I just gave it away today. So if you're not following me on Instagram, definitely go down there and do that in the down in the description and follow me. I will probably at some point once I start getting some of my follower base back, I do a giveaway that is just strictly through Instagram. But as for now, we're on YouTube. It's Bandcamp Friday. I'm going to show you four releases that I think you guys will dig, and I want you guys to check out. The first one is actually not really metal at all, so I will show this one first. But it is one of the better albums that I've heard in quite some time. I was hooked on this on the very first track. I found this through a doom metal channel on YouTube. It is a channel that streams new doom metal releases, doomy type stuff. Sometimes they put in uh, stuff that is right on the cusp of being doom. And the project that I'm going to show had a new EP that was digital only that came out, I think, like in September. That was the EP that kind of led me to their Bandcamp, and I kind of wanted to dig deeper. And I found this full length, and I absolutely fell in love with it, and I had to make the purchase on it. The project I'm talking about is from Tylo. I'm sorry, Tylo, if I am mispronouncing your name. The name of this album is The Descent. This is dark folk. I say folk because you have kind of Americana vibes going on this. If you know Americana music, sometimes it almost feels like it can teeter to the point of country. Does not go into country, so don't get it mixed up and just frown your nose up at it. And the Americana stuff is kind of sprinkled in. It is not the major part of this particular release. I'm going to show my age a little bit. I don't know um, if many of you guys remember the series Twin Peaks. Julie Cruz, who was a part of that series, had some solo albums that she put out in that time period. They were kind of jazzy, dark, gothy type stuff, and I get that vibe through this particular album. There are some tracks on here. Track number 4, Spiny Creature. That one almost has that jazzy Julie Cruz feel going on. I absolutely love that track. Track number 6, Vesper. That's another one that I kind of get that feeling from. I was hooked on this album, and I knew I was buying this album on the very first track. No Hunger. That is one that if you're going to check this album out, I would just start from the beginning. Um, that track is almost intoxicating. It is. I can't speak the praises of this stuff enough. The dark folk kind of uh, gothy vibes are there. This Tylo is out of Seattle, so you would almost expect like some grungy stuff. There's quite a bit of influences going on this particular release, and it's kind of amazing the way that she can tie them all in together and create something that keeps you interested and makes you want to keep listening to it. This is a project that I'm definitely going to keep my eye on and follow for some time moving forward to see what else she comes up with. Track number 8, I've been looking for something. If you want to find something If you're looking for something metal, go to track number 8. At the end of that track, it gets very abrasive, very sludgy, I really dug that part of it. I like that abrasive sound, and I'm hoping that she revisits that sometime in the future, and and we can move forward hearing something along those lines. All of the influences, she wears her influences on her sleeve, and she puts them all together and creates something absolutely magical with this. The very last track, Summer Turns to Fall, very fitting. This actually came out New Year's Eve of 2021, so the fact that I'm just finding it now um, is very fitting. It was quite a great soundtrack for my kind of October go into autumn kind of spooky season mode. Fantastic, intoxicating, entrancing stuff. It will definitely capture your attention and keep you craving more. There goes one of those loud trucks that I was just talking about. We're gonna let him pass because he's at the red light, and once he goes, we're gonna go into the second album. Next up, this is a band out of Memphis, Tennessee, right down the road from me. I just dropped something out of the package there. I actually just got this in the mail, I think 2 days ago, and it is being played nonstop it's been nonstop playing since I got it. This is Epoch of Unlight with their newest release, At War with the Multiverse. This is the band's first full length since I think 2005. Some of you older heads are probably familiar with Epoch of Unlight. They started out pretty much black metal, melodic black metal, kind of fused into black and melodic black and death metal. The 2005 release, the Continuum Hypothesis, that one they really kind of embraced that death metal sound. And in 2016, I think it was, they brought in a new vocalist. Since you haven't had a full length come out in 2005 and it is now 2022, you're going to have lineup changes, you're going to have life changes, you're going to have things that go on outside of music, but that affect the band. The new vocalist, Scott Baggett is his name. He brings a very I guess they lean heavily into the death metal sound on this particular release. There is a ton of melodic death metal. The blackened vibes are still there, but he also has a thrashy vibe to his vocals as well. One thing that really stands out to me on this new release is just the riffing. Track number 8, entitled Night Hunt, is probably my favorite track on this release. And for me, I had a little note here. It just says, "Welcome to Riff City." I mean, that's how I feel when I listen to that particular track. I've had this going in the car, so sometimes in the car you kind of lose focus of what you're listening to, and it just plays. That track number 8 is the one that always grabs my attention, grabs my interest, and brings me back in, and it's like, oh yeah, this is a killer release that I'm listening to. Fantastic stuff here. The fourth full length that this band has put out over their career. I remember following this band back in the late '90s, and while I was in high school, and I still love them, if not more, just as much as I did back then. So fantastic stuff off of Dark Horizon Records. I have to give Dark Horizon Records props on this release as well. Uh, First off, first and foremost, with it being in the jewel case, a lot of new labels and new albums are just getting put out in those little digipacks. I say new labels. Dark Horizon is not a new label. They've been around since the late '90s, so they know what's up. They know that jewel case is king. I'm glad they put that out. They put out a ton of obscure and underground metal, and that's something, if you follow this channel, you know that's what I'm all about. If this doesn't influence you to pick this up on Bandcamp, I don't know what will. You get your digital copy, you get the jewel case. They send you a coupon code for 10% off from their store. They even did these little hand numbered cards. I have number 448 out of 500 is my disc number. And then they threw in a couple of stickers as well. I have some barren spots at the bottom of my sticker board back here, so these are probably going to get used in very short time, because this is a band that I want. I will probably put them over something at the top, because definitely the Epoch of Unlight sticker, because it is a band that I'm truly behind. And I think you guys, if you haven't followed them, if you're new to this type of stuff, you got some great material to backtrack on as well. So definitely check this one out. If you're into tapes, they have tapes available on their Bandcamp as well. Next up, old school death metal. At this point, old school death metal kind of feels like king when it comes to extreme music. That is what is being forced down everyone's throats. I do enjoy old school death metal. It's getting to the point where a lot of it is starting to sound the same to me, but that happened anytime anything gains popularity, you're going to have tons of bands popping up. It's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, it's good for heavy metal in general because you have interest. Let the truck go by. You have just interest, and just having interest in metal is never a bad thing. The same thing happened when atmospheric black metal got so popular. It exploded. I was all behind it. I found tons of new bands that I liked, but it was getting to the point that there was a lot of those bands that were just sounding like cookie cutter, copy paste bands. So when you find something that actually stands out to you, that's something that's worth noting and worth sharing. That's what I've got for you today. This is a band out of Canada. They're from Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. This is Last Retch. This is their debut full length entitled Sadism and Severed Heads. It's labeled as a full length. It is 9 tracks, 27 minutes. I mean, technically, time wise, you could it could fall into EP territory, but with it being 9 tracks, I could see I can give them a pass on saying a full length. This is CDN Records. Thankfully, even though this is coming from Canada, I purchased this on Bandcamp. The shipping will not beat you up too bad, and it got here quicker than some of my American purchases that I've made. So just keep that in mind if you were going to shy away from it, just from the fact that it's coming from Canada. The shipping is reasonable, and it did not take a long time to get here. The brevity of the tracks on this is definitely a plus. It doesn't take long for you to get into this album before you know that you're in for something absolutely special. Track number 2, Doom Rider, is my favorite track on this particular release. This one's being pretty highly touted, and it's definitely worth the praise that it's been getting. It's only been out for about a month now, so if you have not checked out Last Retch, I know a lot of you are into death metal. If this one has passed you by, I definitely implore that you check this one out. It's just short, sweet, no frills, old school death metal that you remember like the old school wrestling matches, the big blue cage where the wrestler like Hulk Hogan would grab whoever he's in the cage with and start rubbing their face across the cage. That's what this album's going to do to you. It's going to beat you up, but it's gonna beat you up in a way that makes you want to keep on coming back and returning, and makes a masochist out of you. So that's a definitely a compliment for Last Retch there. Check that one out if you have not done so. And then the last one, changing gears a little bit. This is a sludgy, atmospheric post-metal band out of Poland. There is another band with a similar sound out of Poland that I absolutely love entitled Mona. You guys have probably heard me talk about them on this channel sometime in the past. The singer from that band is the singer for this project. What we have is the debut full length from Grief Circle. This one is entitled Weightless. This is about as perfect of an album as I've heard all year. It's early for me to say that. This only came out in October, so I haven't been able to spend the time with it that I have with some of the earlier of the year releases. But every year, it seems like there's been a release or two that just completely floors me, that blows me away, and it's just up on a pedestal away from everything else. This year, I've been a little bit lacking on that. There's been a ton of releases that I've really liked. There's been a ton of releases that I've loved, but there hasn't been that just one release for me that has been bar none. Like, this is probably going to be rival everything else to be that number one album of the year for me. And I don't say that lightly, that this is going to be one of those albums. I've been completely entranced by this since I've gotten it. The very first track, Cursed, when I've heard that track, the album wasn't released yet. That was the first track that they released as kind of a teaser for the album. it was an immediate purchase. I knew nothing else about this other than the fact that Kavas, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, it was the vocalist for this project. That garnered interest from me immediately because I love his vocals in Mona. So the fact that there was a bit of familiarity in the vocal process there was a definite plus because I knew it was going in that it was someone that I was going to enjoy their vocals. The music backs that up completely. That first track, I was sold. It was an immediate purchase, and I was not let down. Love this release. I think it's every track is about 8 minutes, 8 or 9 minutes, 6 tracks, roughly 50 minutes, 48 minutes, 50 minutes, and it does not overstay its welcome. It kind of leaves you wishing that it was a little bit longer because you want to hear some more of this. Track number 5, Weightless. The title track on this is another one that I just absolutely love. It kind of rivals the first track as to which is my favorite particular track on this release. I will have all of this linked up down in the description, and I hope you guys take the time to check this stuff out. If you do check any of these out, please feel free to put your 2 cents in down in the comments. I like to hear what you guys feel about this stuff. I have a ton of other stuff just sitting here next to me that is waiting for me to show, waiting for me to have the time to actually show on this channel. I have a pile of stuff that needs to be sorted in the floor. Everything from the move is not in its place yet. So we're getting there, slowly getting the content out, but just know that there's a ton of stuff on the way that I want to show you guys. That's all I've got for today. I should be back Sunday. I am going to Memphis to see I Hate God and Autolith and Kamikaze Zombie on Sunday, but I will try to get the CD collection video up before I take that trip to that concert. So that's all I've got for today. Check this stuff out. Enjoy your Bandcamp Friday, and I will see you all very soon. I promise.